The world was born in fire and smoke. Continents trembled as the sea and the rocks took shape. Climates were established, winds blew, and the land masses settled into place. Some parts were barren, others fertile. Floating high above the land, you'll see just how little of it can be cultivated. The fruits of the earth are hard-won. For 2.5 centuries now, the House of Moet and Chandon have been making the most sophisticated wine in the world and dispatching it to every corner of the globe. Every minute of every day, somewhere, a cork is released from a bottle of Moet. It's not just a wine for celebration. It's a wine of great elegance and style to be enjoyed at all times, a wine that makes the spirit soar and the heart leap. Champagne comes from the most northerly vineyards in mainland Europe, planted in the 1st century after Christ, raised by monks, praised by kings. The grapes are picked 100 days after the flowering of the vines, whose roots go deep into chalk. Autumn is approaching, and the grapes are bursting with juice. The pickers work carefully with one eye on the sky. They'll need 2 or 3 weeks of continuous good weather to bring in the harvest. Champagne is made from white grapes, the noble Chardonnays, blended with black grapes, the Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier, which produce wines of intense soft fragrance. The whole region, strictly delimited by law, is just 100 square miles in area. Moet's influence lies at its very heart.
Well, the House of Moet have been created in 1743 by my ancestor Claude Moet, who presumably had started a business, a wholesale wine business much earlier, but we could only trace him to 1743.
Jean-Remy Moet met Napoleon when he was a young soldier. As the Corsican began to conquer the world, so the fame of Moet spread too. To entertain his emperor in Epernay, Jean-Remy built a replica of Versailles' Trianon. That historic friendship is commemorated on the label of Brut Impérial. The golden image of Champagne reached new heights in the period of the Belle Époque. By then, it had become the most exclusive and sought-after wine in the world.
Champagne is a delimited area, and we are not far today from probably the end of the extension of the vineyard.
The principal regions entitled to produce Champagne are the mountain of Reims, the valley of the river Marne, the Côte de Blanc, and the Aube, 60 miles from the southern tip of the Côte de Blanc.
But our goal, our main goal, is to produce the best sparkling wine of the world, to be sure that Champagne will stay as the king of sparkling wine. And of course, we like to have new drinkers, but once again, we don't want to develop the production if we were not able to maintain the top quality of Champagne. That's really our main goal.
As soon as they're picked, the bunches of grapes are taken to be pressed as quickly as possible before fermentation can start. These round wooden presses have been used in Champagne for more than 200 years. Each load of grapes will be pressed several times before the last drop of juice is extracted. Only the first pressings, which produce the best juice, are used. It needs over 1 kilo of grapes to make 1 bottle of Champagne. The juice from each village and each pressing is fermented separately in these stainless steel vats. Only later will the wines be blended.
Being able to work with rather huge quantity of wines, and therefore being able to make the best blends, the best assemblage that we can make, because we take advantage of having grape resources from all the different areas and parts of the Champagne region.
The Champagne region embraces over 200 classified villages, or crus, each rated in ascending order of excellence. The top vineyards are the Grand and Premier Cru. Moet own vines in 13 of the 17 Grand Cru, and most of their vineyards are in the Grand Cru and Premier Cru regions. It is a priceless heritage.
It gives us a larger palette of colors, such as the painter has, in order to be able to compose assemblage and blends which offer the greatest complexity and greatest subtlety.
At Moet's headquarters in Epernay, the creation of each blend is achieved by mutual agreement as the tasting team assess a wealth of wines. After each vintage, there may be up to 150 different cru and 600 vats to choose from. The blending is in 2 stages. First, they'll create wines from one grape variety and one area. From these carefully made pre-blends, they move on to the final assembly. This is the crucial stage for Yves Bénard and his team.
Assemblage is the secret of the quality of champagne. Assemblage is like a symphony orchestra, where you have in the table all the grapes coming from all the areas of Champagne, and then after fermentation, when you have all the, as we call, vin de base, the wines coming from each growth, each village.
The tasters have a very clear picture in their minds of what style of wine they wish to achieve. They're aiming to assemble a blend that in 3 years' time or more will exactly match the wine being drunk today. Light, golden in color, with an attractive bouquet and a lively, fresh taste. After the blend has been made, the wine is bottled, and at the same time a dose of yeast and sugar is added. This will stimulate the vital secondary fermentation, which will create the carbonic bubbles that give the sparkle to champagne. Over the next few months, as the wine lies in the chill chalk caves 150 feet below ground, the yeast will feed on the sugar and the fizz will form. The bottles are then allowed to age in the labyrinth of cellars which run for more than 17 miles below Epernay. 3 years for the non-vintage, 5 years for the vintage, ensure all the different elements of fruit and acidity are fully married. As the wine ages, sediments appear which will eventually be ingeniously removed. The bottles are placed at an angle in wooden racks. Every day they're shaken vigorously and rotated so that gradually the deposits move down into the neck of the bottle. A skilled remueur can turn up to 50,000 bottles in a day. When the sediment has settled on the cap and the wine is ready for consumption, the bottle is dunked in heavily salted water, which freezes the sediment into an icy plug. Remove the crown cap, and the pressure in the bottle expels the plug like a bullet. At this stage, the champagne is bone dry. It's the dosage, a blend of the same wine and sugar, which will determine its final degree of sweetness. The pressure in the bottle is about the same as inside the tire of a 30-ton truck. To seal in this frisky wine, you need extra strong corks, which came originally from the forests of Catalonia. It was the English who can claim credit for developing the specially strong bottle champagne demands. The marriage of bottle and cork and the development of a unique blending process were achieved at the end of the 17th century at the Abbey of Auvillers in the heart of the Champagne region. It was the inspired work of a Benedictine monk, Dom Perignon. Today, Moet carry on this work. In their new laboratory, one of their major projects is to explore the exact nature of the bubbles produced in the secondary fermentation. They know the composition of the wine is critical in supporting the all-important effervescence. It is research which will benefit the whole Champagne region.
we are making champagne, we are the leaders in the making of champagne, and we must understand better about bubbles and foam. And it's a reason why we got that 5-year project for getting a better understanding.
Dom Perignon was among the first to realize that by pressing black grapes swiftly, white juice could be extracted, because the color lies in the skin, not the flesh. He realized too that by blending wines and grapes from different areas, a wine of far greater quality could be achieved. This blending technique is the essence of champagne making. But he also carried his researches out into the vineyards. He realized that it was the quality of the vines themselves which determined the style of the wine. Today, in the Moet laboratories, they're improving the quality of grafted plants. By taking clones of vines known to be virus-free and raising them in clinical conditions and grafting them onto healthy rootstocks, the vines will be in prime condition when they're planted. At the same time, they're searching for strains which will produce the perfect grape. A vine is only replaced every 30 years, but so large is the extent of the Moet vineyards that they need to produce 200,000 new vines every year. Champagne begins its life in these vineyards. Here, the young vines are nurtured, pruned, and schooled for maturity. Making great champagne is labor-intensive and time-consuming. From picking the grapes by hand through every stage in production, enormous care is taken. The long aging in the cellars and the large reserves of wine essential to produce fine blends are costly. It's a wine which should be approached with joy, delight, and a certain amount of reverence. The bottle should be chilled, the top of the gold foil should be removed, the wire muzzle eased off, and then a gentle twisting motion will ease the cork out, not with a pop, but a scarcely audible sigh. Then pour a little champagne. Ideally, it should be drunk from plain glasses, either tulip or flute-shaped, which enhance the bouquet and allow the bubbles to stream gently to the surface.
The house style of Moet & Chandon is, first of all, the style of his brand and the style of his people. Brand and people are the richness of the company, and I'm very happy to see that all our workers are very proud to be part of the company. There is, as we say, l'esprit maison, you know, the spirit of the house,